Meeting for February 17, 2026. We start on time so we can end on time. And we always start with the invocation tonight by Mr. Hardy, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance tonight by Mr. D. Sabato. If I can get everybody, please stand.
Our Father, thank you for this day. Help us and guide us, and help us get the wisdom and decisions that would be better for the people of Horry County. We ask that you keep all and everyone safe on their travels, and we ask that you please keep all our first responders out of harm's way that they may return to their families. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Attention to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you very much. Next up is public input, and I would like to say a few words before we start public input. I used to say, I've been on the council, this is my 8th year. In the first year, I used to say that public input was my favorite part of the night because we got to hear new things from our constituents, and sometimes they were good and sometimes they were other than not so good. But we haven't had much public input in the last few years, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is our staff at the county has never worked as hard as they're working now. We have some super duper professionals that are answering the bell, answering the call. But more importantly, or just as importantly, the men and women sitting on this dais work very hard for their constituents. County Council has never been more accessible and never been more in tune with their constituents' issues and problems and helping work them out and resolve them. And as a result, we get few and few complainers coming up here. And we want to hear from anybody and everybody that's a resident here. If they have an issue that we can help, we can't help with the southern border and things like that. But if it's an Horry County issue, we can help you. We want to hear about it. But for the people at home watching us and the people here in this room, it's important to know that when somebody does come to that podium, their issue has more than likely been addressed by a staff member, maybe a committee, at least one council member, their district council member, maybe a standing committee that we have. There may have been a community meeting about that. Sometimes those issues get resolved that way, and sometimes they just can't get resolved. So this council has taken the position that when it does come time for public input, it is just what it says, public input. It's not a debate. It's not a question and answer session. It's for the public to give input. So we're not going to go back and forth on them. We want to hear from them. It's their time to shine. By rule, they have 5 minutes. It's a professional venue. They're not going to call people out. They're going to be professional. They're not going to use anybody's names or be derogatory, defamatory, or anything of that nature. If they have an issue they want to be heard on, they're going to be respectful, and we're going to be respectful, and we're going to listen to them because we want to hear them. So I'm happy the way things are working out, and with that's enough for me, so we'll keep moving. First up is Michael Tompkinson. He wants to talk about laws and accountability, and he's been here before, so he knows he has 5 minutes. He knows we have this wonderful clock here. Green is go, 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 and yellow is 1 minute left.
Don't stop the clock yet. I gotta get up here.
And red is what?
Okay.
Stop. Okay.
Okay, my name is Michael Tonkinson. I live in Little River, South Carolina. Lived there for 7 years now. And yes, I have been here in December, and I came to address the fact that there was a illegal container in the neighbor next door, and I want to thank you very much for the committee of getting rid of that. It is no longer there. But the issue that I have today is all the people from out of state living in the area. And it is law that 30 days they need to change their tags. Now, these are just a few plates that pictures that I've taken. I've driven all over Little River, Longs, all kinds of places. And I went around more than once within a long period of time and found out that there's people living here and not paying their taxes. The reason why I'm here tonight is to address it. As you could see, I received my plate thing in the mail that my taxes are due on my truck and my wife's car. Okay, I'm willing to pay that. Well, I would like the county to either appoint somebody to go out and put locks on these people, say, hey, you know what? You've been here years, because these vehicles that I show, they've been here 3 years, and they still got North Carolina plates on them. And it's like, they're not paying the taxes, and I know this county needs taxpayer money. And that's one of the things that I'd like to address. Another one is in January, I went to pay my taxes for my home, and I went to sign up for the Homestead Act. So they told me to go over to the auditor's office. Now this will show you what kind of person that I am and my wife are. I took and I went and signed up for the Homestead Act, and I looked over to the side of me, and there was this black sock sitting there. And I'm like, wow, what could this be? So I showed the lady, and she goes, I don't want nothing to do with that damn sock. Throw it in the damn garbage. And I'm like, well, there's something in it. So I decided to open it up. There was a very, very large sum of money in that sock. And I took and I put it on the website that there was something found at the auditor's office. And I took and my wife said, let's leave it here, and maybe that person that lost it will come back for it. Well, I took and I said, okay. Well, I waited 5 days. I went back to the office and I asked them, did anybody come and find this sock? They said, what sock? And I was a military cop. They give you a gut feeling, when somebody's lying to you. Well, you know what? This lady, there's no way, because we reported it to the Horry County Police Department behind, and you know what he told me? They probably pocketed it. And it's like, no, it belongs to them people. And if it don't belong to them people, it comes back to me, because we will donate it to the veterans or to an animal charity or St. Jude's, somebody who really, really needs it. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming out. Next up is Linda Gibson. She is going to talk. We've heard this topic one time before, I think from you, Mr. Tonkinson, about a neighbor who living in the garage and trash on property.
She doesn't want to.
Sir?
She doesn't want to.
Well,
She's right next to me, and she's like a
okay.
little bit,
All right.
you know.
Well, thank you for coming out. We'll move on to our alternate, Miss Tandra Hodum. She wants to talk again about Eagle Trace Special Tax District.
Hi. I'm Tandra Hodum. I live in Eagle Trace by Burkell Road in District 8. First, I wanted to thank you all for approving the mental health facility in District 5 the other week. So I've come in here twice before to talk about the Eagle Trace Special Tax District. The first time we gave you all a petition from residents and homeowners asking the council to abolish the tax district and letting you know about some issues with the original petition that was used to create this tax district and problems with the methods used to obtain people's signatures and lack of transparency. Although our councilman did tell me that a petition from the neighborhood asking the council to undo the ordinance wouldn't do anything, and that people should have read the paper before signing it, and that he personally makes sure to read a paper before putting a signature on it. But if you look at the original petition, it doesn't make it clear how extreme the tax levy is, and it's worded asking for an election to be held, and then it cites a section of code that doesn't require an election. So Ordinance 142-2024 was passed without a referendum. Mr. Spivey said the council had the power to pass the ordinance based on the petition, but it doesn't seem like the council had the authority to pass this tax levying ordinance that involves a $200,000 county bond without a referendum when the petition they base this on doesn't satisfy the statute that is cited, which requires the petition to be signed by resident freeholders who collectively own at least 75% of the assessed value of real property within the district. The county assessor didn't seem to verify the residency status of the homeowners when he certified the signatures on the petition, and at least 5 non-resident homeowners and corresponding parcels are included in the total assessed value of this proposed district. And when the non-resident homeowners are excluded from the total assessed value, the remaining value falls below 75%. So it's strange that this wasn't noticed by the assessor, the attorney, or the administrators. So he told us to come back and let you know how the January neighborhood meeting with the informal straw poll went. We were told, based on the results of the poll, that the councilman could suggest to the council they unwind the tax district or that they move forward. So it was last week on the 9th. It was defined as a gathering rather than a meeting. There wasn't a presentation or agenda. It was more of a situation where homeowners could drop in and mingle and individually ask county officials questions before turning in their poll next to a number of uniformed police officers, and the same answers weren't necessarily given to everyone. For example, one couple asked about the interest, and Mr. Spivey told them the interest was included in the $600,000 cost of the project. But paperwork from the meeting in October shows the interest on the county bond would be approximately $250,000 extra on top of that. He was also telling this homeowner the contingency rate was 20%, but the cost estimate attached to the ordinance shows the contingency rate is 25%, so there might have been some misinformation floating around. And also a lot of people in the neighborhood never received a letter with the date of the poll. The post office failed to deliver these. I also wanted to add that 2 members of the Eagle Trace District Commission elected by council are not resident homeowners, although the ordinance says the 5 members of the commission must be resident homeowners. One member is selling his house and recently moved to a fancier neighborhood, and one member lives in North Carolina and rents out his house, and he mentioned that the county knew he lived in North Carolina when he got this petition, so that's strange. It's also strange that at the fall budget meeting, when Mr. Spivey said the neighborhood was billed at the millage set by ordinance, he didn't seem to mention that the millage set by ordinance resulted in billings of $113,000, while the fiscal year 2025-2026 Horry County financial plan shows the Eagle Trace Fund revenues billed at 300 mills to be approximately $79,000, with $79,000 in expenditures. And excess revenue of over $30,000 was not mentioned at this budget meeting, as far as I can tell. I didn't watch the entire meeting, it was very long. So I wanted to suggest that anyone living in the Legends Drive Special Tax District and District 8 as well might want to ask for an audit in case a similar situation is being overlooked in their tax collection budget. Also wanted to ask that the council reconsider their objectives mentioned in the 2040 plan. This plan mentions under funding opportunities a goal to evaluate the feasibility of special tax districts within suburban and urban areas to fund higher level services, higher service levels. But if this is how special tax districts are being handled in this county, it might not be the best solution for the taxpayers or anyone involved.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for
Tried to
coming
talk
out.
myself.
All right. So that being said, we will close public input and move on to approval of the agenda contents. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Next is the approval of the minutes from our regular meeting from February 3rd. Motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Consent agenda? Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And down to presentations and resolutions. First off, I think it's going to be Ms. Hardwick, recognition of employees who have achieved 30, let's just go ahead and say it, it's 40, right?
It's 40.
40 years of service with Horry County.
I helped train this young man back in my day as a dispatcher, back when we did it a little different, right, Al?
Yes,
And it's my honor to introduce our sheriff, Philip Thompson.
All right, the High Sheriff.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Sheriff.
Come on, Arnie. Good evening, everyone. Mr. Chairman and members of council, Madam Clerk, thank you all again for continuing to do this recognition of our employees. You know, we talk about Team Horry. Well, what makes Team Horry is the men and women that work for us and what they do for us each and every day. And today I want to introduce to you Sergeant Ernest Beatty. Sergeant Beatty has been with Horry County for 40 years. He started his career out with the Horry County Police Department, and I don't remember exactly how many years you were there. How many?
26.
Just 26 at the county PD. So I'm assuming 14 with the sheriff's office. So, but very dedicated service, and when we talk about these folks, that says so much about his loyalty, his dedication, his commitment to service. But he is also that person in their community that he's from. When he has time, when he's not working, he's farming. And he's growing vegetables, and he's doing things in the community, and he gives to people, he gives back. And I especially appreciate him when he comes by during peanut season and bring me my ball peanuts. But Ernest is a very dedicated person, and he is that go-to individual when things happen and you look around and you need something done quickly and you need it done right. You call the sergeant, and he'll answer the phone. When you call his phone, he'll answer that phone. What you got for me? Not hello, not anything other than what you got for me to do. Ready to go to work. So folks, it is an honor and a privilege to be able to present this to you, Sergeant, for presented to Ernest Beatty in recognition of many years of devoted service and invaluable contributions to our team. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Did you see the way you looked at me?
We're gonna take a picture.
Mr. Chairman, I've known Ernest for, probably 30 of the 40 years and stuff. And I asked him out there in the hallway about some of our times in the past, and he said, no, Reb, and so if you better plead the fifth on that. He's a good man. You can always count on him. I appreciate him.
Yes, sir, and that's another example of Horry County being a great place to live and Horry County being a great place to work. So we're proud of him and all the others that have been here for over 30 years, everybody that works here. All right, let's move on. Resolution R13, 2026, Horry County Council to honor Dick and Carol Patterson for their volunteerism and the statewide recognition of their efforts. I'd like to recognize Nicole Herrera and Michaela LeMay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A second. Let's hear from them. Hello.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Council. Thank you so much for letting us be here. We are honored today to honor Dick and Carol and Michaela May, who is the staff liaison between the Vereen Memorial Historical Garden Committee, is going to read the resolution for you.
All right.
A resolution by Horry County Council to honor Dick and Carol Patterson for their volunteerism and the statewide recognition of their efforts. Whereas Dick and Carol Patterson have volunteered at the Vereen Memorial Historical Gardens and have been active citizens leading a cadre of volunteers in helping maintain the gardens. And whereas the Pattersons have been active members on the Vereen Memorial Historical Gardens Committee since 2019. And whereas the Pattersons were recognized as 2025 Community Champions by the South Carolina Recreation and Parks Association, which is a nonprofit organization that advocates for parks, recreation, and tourism opportunities in our state. And whereas Horry County recognizes the Pattersons for their volunteerism and their role in maintaining the gardens for our residents and the preservation of its recreational opportunities. Now therefore be it resolved that the Horry County Council does hereby honor Dick and Carol Patterson for their volunteerism at the Vereen Memorial Historic Gardens and recognize them for their receipt of the 2025 South Carolina Recreation and Parks Community Champion Award. And so it resolved this day, this 17th day of February 2026. Congratulations.
Very good. That's excellent. That is excellent. More good news for Horry County. The news in Horry County is good news. All right, let's move on to Resolution R-18-2026. This is a resolution, and it's also required to have public hearing, and we're going to have that tonight. This is to approve the permit to locate a 283-foot freestanding telecommunications tower on PIN number 305-0702-0039, located on a 0.8 acre parcel at 1752 Shelley's Place in Little River. Dr. Dukes, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Anyone from the public wish to be heard on this resolution? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jonathan Yates, the applicant. We're just here for any and all questions that the board may have.
Thank you, sir. We're glad you're here, and I'm going to turn it over to our county council if anybody has a question. I don't think we do. We've been
have
briefed.
one.
You want to know about, I know his question.
Yes, sir.
Some years ago, we passed an ordinance to where all new towers in the county at the 150-foot mark has to have 3 foot of 3M Scotch-Lite tape or painting reflective around it.
Yes, sir. At the 150-foot mark, this will have the tape or the reflective tape and the marking. This will have it on there. This is actually, we're doing what we call a drop and swap. We have an existing tower. It's been there since 2003. It's done it more than its duty. We got to replace it structurally, so we're just going to put it right next door on our friend Miss Gail Livingston's property. It's on her property now, but it's going to go right next to it, and we will have at the 150 mark the reflective tape and striping.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hey, anyone else?
Safety issue.
Yes, sir. All right, hearing none. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. That passes unanimously. Now we're going to read the ordinances. Second reading and public hearing of ordinance 12-2026, authorizing the issuance and sale of not exceeding $5 million in general obligation bonds, Series 2026, or such other appropriate series designation of Horry County, South Carolina, fixing the form and details of the bonds, authorizing the county administrator or his lawfully authorized designee to determine certain matters relating to the bonds, providing for the payment of the bonds and the disposition of the proceeds thereof, and other matters relating thereto. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Hearing none. Anyone from council? Hearing none. All in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Next up is second reading and public hearing of ordinance 13-2026 to amend the fiscal year 2026 budget ordinance number 39-2025, section 1, so as to recognize various additional revenue and expenditures. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Anyone from the public wish to be heard? Hearing none. Anyone from council? Hearing none. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Next up is our memorial dedications. Mr. Anderson?
Dr. James P. Mahaffey, Mrs. Hannah Mortensen Hancock, Johnny Sparks, Randy Wayne Lack, and Mr. Wilbur Floyd Benton.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Allen?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Miss Dot Andrews, Miss Janice Parrott Baker, Miss Dorothy Inman, Miss Doris Jones, and Miss Kathy Tyndall. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Dr. Dukes?
Mr. Jacob Canoy.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? We will honor these individuals by closing our meeting out tonight in their memory. We will move down to upcoming meetings that are listed on the agenda, but please pay attention to our website and social media because sometimes they do change. We do not have an executive session unless somebody feels like we need to have one. I don't think we need to do. Okay, that concludes the business of the county for tonight. Mr. Anderson, do you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, we close tonight's meeting.
We are adjourned.